You know, sometimes this free-to-play is accomplishing things that are even surprising me. Hello, everyone. Bront, CatHerder here. We're having some fun talking Raid Shadow Legends, and we are here on the free-to-pause account. Because, honestly, I've made a couple videos on this account talking about ways I could progress, things I can do on this account, and I actually want to show you a few of the things because I've been finding, honestly, that I've been able to go further than I expect to with the count just by kind of pushing it a little bit here and a little bit there. I just finished re-gearing some champions, for example, and was actually really impressed with how much I could actually push them forward. I've got new builds on champions that are new and old that are really working out really well. And it's been nice to kind of make a huge amount of progress because I've been dedicated towards progress and not towards doing the fusion. Now, to be fair, the fusion isn't quite far enough gone yet where I couldn't possibly make up the fusion, but I figured that, you know what, I'm going to stick to my guns. I am going to hold off and deal with the turtle stuff, and then once the turtles are done, then I can focus on the next fusion. So let's go take a look around the free-to-play and talk about some of the progress I have made on the account. So if you've already caught the video I did on this, I managed to run a full auto team with, for the first team I really have run that had a chance of doing anything in Nightmare Clan Boss. And hey, I managed to one key Nightmare Clan Boss with this team. And after that, I found out that Molly had almost none of her masteries. She was fully mastered. She just didn't have any of them purchased. I'm still missing masteries on a couple of the champions. I'm still missing some of the other things of these champions. I think I have to roll up a couple of them. Not all of them are booked fully. In fact, most of them are not booked fully. I think Donnie is the only champion that was actually fully booked on this entire team. And it still worked just fine. Absolutely amazing. And it's one of these things where maybe it means I should have been pushing into Nightmare just a little bit earlier, or maybe it's just a combination of a bunch of things coming together, including Mikey having a few books into him, Granite being fully built to add some extra damage to him as well, Donnie being such a good healer, finishing up with Molly, who was finally first built for this as well. To be fair, yeah, Molly and Granite were built just before I ran this particular team. So this is the first time I could have run this team in any way, shape, or form. So, hey, good on me, progress I made. And again, it is the type of thing that I think that you, as a player, can do for yourself. Challenge yourself with harder content. And sometimes you need to rebalance your teams, re-examine how you're building your champions, maybe re-gear a couple of them. But you'd find that quite often, sometimes even using a champion you weren't expecting, you can get something amazing done on your account. Very recently, I did a video on Hard Spider, and I may have talked about it in another video where I managed to push this up to Spider 10, but this team works on Spider 10. I have no problems running this team here whatsoever. In fact, I'll run it in the background while we're talking about it. It's not an amazing team. It's not some super special formula, but Donatello does a great job of keeping everyone alive and doing some extra turn meter. Lydia allows us to do a ton of extra damage. Mikey will allow us to spread those debuffs back and forth constantly, and Tholan just does a ton of damage while Mithrala keeps the poisons off and keeps us kind of alive with the shields and the strengthens as well. So it's a great team overall, and honestly the hex helps quite a bit as well, because the hex is what really makes the next part of this that kind of finishes it up perfect. Because what happens is we get the hex right here, we got that reset, and then somebody dies just because they take a little bit too much damage, and boom, look at all that explosions, and we're good to go. 12 turns, nice and easy. I love it. I also know in the video for the Sand Devil team, I mentioned if I had a tankier nuker, I could probably make stage 25 work. And look what happened. I've got a tankier nuker. Now, it's getting really close with Donatello occasionally getting close to dying against the boss. So I think him having another star or two would help, or maybe just a little more HP or defense, probably a little bit of both, would absolutely help with this boss. Because he can get crit, there's a little bit of a weariness with that, but I think the near kills were when he was being crit, and when he wasn't being crit, he was doing just fine. The blessings are perfect for him. The fact that he can restore HP with the continuous heals that he's throwing up there as well. I guess technically I could probably do the same thing on my Dur the Hungerer as well, although he also has the one where he just does the flat out heal that restores HP, I believe. So couple of good options for the two of them to restore the max HP that they're doing, but there's enough healing going on and enough tankiness going on that this team works as intended, where Donatello is preventing Dur from dying, Dur revives everybody involved, and then for the most part, we are just doing damage with Granite. And Granite actually does a good job with this because Granite lands 2 debuffs, and because he's not doing a lot of double hitting or triple hitting, and he's the only one really attacking, the boss isn't waking up and is keeping, or he's waking up, I guess, from naturally from taking a turn rather than waking up from being hit too many times. So as a result, we get an extra hit or 2 on him with decreased defense and block buffs, which means we're doing more damage than normal. So it lines up pretty well with the way this team needs to work. So I'm happy with it. That said, I do have Godseeker that is almost completely built as well. And if I can farm this with Godseeker and food, that's going to be a big win. Honestly, being able to do either one of these is a big win for the account. Over to Hard Faction Wars, which I can't show you at the moment because, well, the High Elves and Undead just opened up, but I've actually been able to, auto-on actually, is farm Knights Rev 1 on hard. Doesn't sound too exciting, but the reason it's kind of cool is it means I'm finally starting to get relic pieces, so I can eventually get something like the Arachne Elixir, which would be very, very good for this account. I can't get the Arachne Elixir because I can't get enough of these Faction Wars things to be able to craft those relics at the moment, and that's how you get the Arachne Elixir. I'm missing out on that. I'm missing out on some of the better glyphs. So the 5 and 6 star glyphs you start earning once you get further on into these as well. So, you know, it is nice to be able to actually move in and get a star. And that's all due to Empress. Empress is absolutely amazing. I could probably do a better damaging build for him. In fact, I was playing around with some ideas, and Hell Hades gave me an idea or two for some way to make him nuke much, much harder than I currently have him at. But I'm pretty happy with the build I've got him in right now. It's kind of a weird hybridish build, but I just need to farm some more stone skin accessories, and then I should be good to go. And until then, well, I'm going to enjoy using Empress, which is absolutely amazing. And finally, checking out my Arbiter, I managed to get another 25 speed on my Arbiter. I don't remember, maybe it was in 30 speed. I got a lot of extra speed on my Arbiter. She's now 350 something with another, 11 more to go once I can ascend these boots at some point in time. So I have been able to get Arbiter to a very, very respectable 360-ish speed, and that's going to be great for the account. On top of that, I managed to get Morrigan close to 350 as well, and I have not looked at some of the other champions on my team, specifically the speed champions, that I need to make them a little bit faster, such as I would like to make her a little bit faster than she currently is, although, you know, she's almost 300, so I guess it's not too bad. I would like to maybe reinforce Fabian a little bit. In fact, I did reinforce Fabian a little bit because he was using a flat HP chest that he's no longer using, and it's nice to be able to revisit some of these really, really old builds and make them better on the account. And that's something I think that a lot of you guys can do to make progress on your account. It's really easy to fall in love with a build you have on a champion and think, hey, I don't need to tweak this at all. They're working just fine. And at the same time, take a look and say, why is everyone else's builds better than mine? Particularly for PvP. So keep on examining your builds, maybe every month or 2 or 3. Honestly, maybe every 3 months is probably a pretty solid amount of time to do it. Start reviewing your builds on your best champions, and start, if you have to, take gear off the champions you're not using anymore, or champions that are not as important. You know, I have, at some point in time, Alice is going to become less important on this account, because as I'm moving into endgame PvP, well, she's good. She's been helpful on this account, but she's not going to carry as much as I might like to otherwise, because she doesn't do some of the things such as remove stone skin reliably that I really need. She still has a lockout. She still hits like a truck, which is great. But, you know, I've been using Tholen. Tholen does a great job. Empress does a great job, and he does some meta stuff, including removing stone skin, swapping some HP, putting fears and true fears up as well. Putting the necrosis up can help a ton. He is a great champion, and I'm going to be using him a little more often. I'm also excited to start using the turtles. I've got Michelangelo built, I've got my Donatello built, and I'm pretty happy with his build. And I even have Raphael mostly built. I just kind of need to level him up, get his masteries up a little bit better, and then I'm just going to start fooling around with him as well. I am excited for the turtles, and I'm excited for Leonardo, and I'm looking forward to getting a chance to get Leonardo running. But having a chance to revisit some of my existing champions with some of the gear upgrades that we've been doing and the fact that I was rolling up gear anyway, you know, it gave me a chance to actually rebuild some of these champions or build new champions or move some gear around, put gear on more important champions on my account to make sure that they are going to continue to help me do the cool things that I want to do with the account. So, bonus for whatever video you happen to be watching today, I here am on the free-to-play, and I would love a Wixwell. And, you know, I'm not going to be eating too many shards for him, but I figured I would rip a quick 10 pull here and throw this into a video for you guys to consume at your leisure. Hopefully we can get something kind of cool. I am wearing my Pepsi shirt, which is honestly just kind of a coincidence. And of course, we are not sponsored by Pepsi, but Pepsi, you can change that. I'm listening. So we do have a Pepsi with us. We are going to pray to RNGesus, and we're going to eat 10 shards. And the worst thing that happens is I get a bunch of rares. I'll have them for food later on. And the best thing that happens is maybe I get a cool legendary. Ooh, a dupe Zargala. That's not super exciting. Another dupe Falja. You know, not particularly exciting. I did get 2 epics in this 10 pull, which is kind of cool. Unfortunately, they are both duplicates. In fact, I think that might be my 4th Falja. Very annoying, but you know, it is what it is. You know, you take a shot, but I'm not going to take a big shot because I'm still saving up. We have an event for Raphael coming soon as of when I'm making this poll. So I figured I'd share this guys with you guys, and, hey, bonus shard poll for the video. So, hey, we're making progress on the free to play. I am doing new content. I am doing harder content. I am beating more people in arena. I am able to compete with some of the more meta champions because I now have some counters to them. Granite is doing a lot of work in arena, in Hydra, honestly in some PvE areas as well, and I'm super excited to use him. Empress is doing some amazing things as well, and I need to keep on pushing the account further because that's part of the fun of this free-to-play account, is seeing where I can challenge myself to continue to get better stuff and go further. So we have a Raphael Soul event coming up soon. I don't know when it's going to be in relation to when this video posts. I'm going to see if I can maybe swing the Raphael Soul on this account. I'm not going to risk not getting Leonardo, and if I have to choose between Raphael Soul and Leonardo Soul, I'm going with Leonardo because Leonardo is a much better champion, and that Soul is going to do a lot more work for him than the Raphael Soul will do with Raphael. That said, I'd love a Raph Soul. It'd be great. So we'll see what happens. And honestly, I think I'd love an April Soul too, but we're going to see how they're priced and where they're priced and whether or not they're even attainable on this free-to-play account. So with all that said, I hope you're constantly challenging yourself, and I hope you challenge yourself to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. I love doing content like this where I talk about some of the fun things I'm doing, and I hope I'm inspiring you to continue to make your account better and hopefully teach you some of the cool things you can do to make your account better. You know, Hell Hades has the optimizer. Sometimes that's a great way to rebuild your champions, and sometimes that's a great way to find pieces of gear you didn't realize you had so you can make your own champs better. I love building my own champs. No disrespect to the Hell Hades tool, but I find that I prefer to gear my champions my own way, and every once in a while I will certainly check them with the Hell Hades to see I'm not out of line, but I tend to prefer my builds over the Hell Hades ones, and that's fine. Some people love that. Some people would prefer to min-max their builds and trust the calculator, and some people kind of do a little bit of mix of both, and I think all of those are perfectly fine ways to have some fun playing Raid Shadow Legends. So, appreciate you guys, have a wonderful day, and you know what? Till the next video, I am Bront CatHerder.